Am I live? Are we live? Wait a minute, are we live right now? Can y'all hear me, see me? Say something in the chat. I didn't even know it was live. I'm over here thinking that, it's just, I'm typing, ain't nobody saying it. I'm looking at the chats here, man. Oh, man, are we live right now? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me? What's going on? Talk to me in the chat. Let me know what is happening. Vincent, wow, we've been live this whole time. Man, this is what happens when a year passed and you've been on live. I didn't even know we was live, y'all. I'm just sitting up here reading the comments in the chat, typing, not knowing that y'all can actually hear me and see me and know that we are on. What's going on, family? Happy New Year to you. Happy Martin Luther King Day to everybody, man. Hold on, trying to get everything in. Yeah, I can see everybody. Perfect. I see Auntie Deb is here. What's going on, Auntie? Good to see you. Man, welcome. Man, it feels good to be back. It's been a year. I think the last time I was live here on YouTube was December of, December 2020? Yeah, because we are now in 2022, so I did not go live at all in 2021, man, because it was crazy. At the end of December 2020, y'all may or may not know, but I almost didn't make it that time, boy, because as a matter of fact, that live I did on that last Friday, I'm going to say maybe 2 weeks later, I was in the hospital fighting for my life. Boy, I tell you, that COVID hit me and all kind of things happened. And I came home and didn't get a chance to recuperate. But look at me. I'm good. I'm here. I'm healthy. Changed eating habits. Changed everything, man. So I'm good. Man, so T-Town says embroidery training will start. Okay, so embroidery training, that means we get ready to add a new facet to the business. Not mad at it at all. Well, definitely check out the replay, especially if you're going to be selling using any of those Etsy's and Amazons, or if you're accepting the credit card payments through Cash App and Venmo, all them, because this is all we're talking about. Just kind of want to go through and give an in-depth review of what's happening with those apps, man. So glad everybody's checking in. Extended clips, man, appreciate you. I see you. Can I do this? Can we still do this? Yeah, there we go. Look, I still got it. I'm still learning. I still got the full setup, right? It's been a year, a little rusty trying to get things in. I really couldn't get Facebook popping for whatever reason. The live stream is somehow connected on Facebook, so I'm waiting on the technical support team to get back to me so our folks over at Facebook could join. But for right now, we're just live here on YouTube. So now that everybody's here, man, happy Martin Luther King Day to y'all. Celebrate the legacy of the man, the great man that is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who made it possible for me to even be here, to be a young melanated man who's self-employed, right, that has the same opportunity as everybody else. So I really don't mind working on today, because it's because of his legacy, his bravery, the things that he did, the path that he laid, the foundation that he laid, that allowed for me to even be here as a self-employed individual talking with y'all, man. So I'm greatly to be here doing this for us on this day, right? So, man, so happy. Yes, sir. Maria, good to see you. I know, right? I feel like this is a family reunion. Like, we are here celebrating. Everybody is here, back in it. I guess we gonna have to get back into the groove and do these like we used to do on a weekly basis, and just bring the family back and get into it. So, hold on. Let me make sure I got everything up and ready for us. Going on here. All right. Perfect. Yeah, man. What else? I see everybody. I see Miss Johnson says good afternoon. So I'm saying good afternoon to you, Miss Johnson. Thank you for being here. Well, it's morning. where I am. So you afternoon, I'm assuming you over there on the East Coast. So I appreciate you joining me. Yes. Oh man, we got one vote. T-Town says, yes, bring them back. So we got to figure out what we going to do. I suggest, yeah, we can definitely bring them back, get these lives right back popping, figure out something. Because, you know, this is a year that we definitely want to scale up. A year that we definitely want to get right, for all intents and purposes. This is a year we want to get right. We want to make sure our books are in order. We want to make sure our finances are in order. We want to make sure that we understand everything we need to understand so we can be successfully self-employed. And that's the goal, right? Like, I do believe we already know how to start a business, right? It's a very simple thing. You need two things. You need your product and your service, and you need a customer who's willing to pay for it. And once you have those two things, well, technically you have a business. The issue is, or should I say what continues to happen is once those two things have started, the question now becomes, well, now what? What do I do? How do I scale? How do I make sure that I ain't owing nobody? How do I stay out of debt? How do I accumulate wealth? Those are the things that I want to go deeper on this year, and definitely going to make that happen. So, man. Indeed. Okay. Ms. Johnson says he is in the ATL, so welcome from the ATL. And so is Deborah King, auntie out there from the ATL. So yes, indeed. Oh man, what time is it? 11 o'clock? Well, y'all know what I'm gonna do. Let's get back to it. I am going to hit the intro video, and after we come back from that, we'll be ready to get into the content. So hang on to your seats, y'all. Let's do it. That was an oldie but goodie, right? Welcome back to the show. Got that going on. So again, because I don't want to be before everybody long, let me make sure I get everything set up, get this going. A lot of things to dive into, particularly today, talking about this whole Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, what's been happening in the news. So let me put this out, or let me go and put the screen on so we can go ahead and kind of get to it. And don't worry, I got the tablet, got the chat going on. I can see everybody chatting. So make sure if you have any questions or anything that comes up while this is happening, hit me up, let me know. I'll be able to see it, and we can kind of talk about it after this, after the Q&A is there, and go from there. So if you are just joining and you do not know who I am, my name is Tyrone Gregory. I'm the self-employed tax guy, and I am your favorite uncle cousin, and I have but one simple goal, and that is to help you become successfully self-employed. And I do it through mediums like this, hopping on here, sharing education of what's going on in business and taxes, so you can be better educated, better aware, and make better decisions. So again, let me go ahead and get right to today's information. Oh, nope, didn't want to show that. See, look at that wrong thing showing on. Hold on, y'all. Let me. Gotta get it set. It's always something, my good people, ain't it? So what is desktop catcher? Yeah, let's see. This one I'm trying to get to. There we are. All right, now I got it set. All right, I had the little hiccup there. It was showing y'all the wrong thing. So now, let's see if that'll work. Let's bring it up. There we go. All right, now we back in the building. All right. All right, so here we are today talking about what is happening with the Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, because what's happening now is the fact that the IRS will now know. That is the premise of everything. The IRS will now know. Like, this is simply it. I'm gonna put it like this. This is right here. Game is over. Okay. And I'm going to show you something, right? I'm going to show you why the game is over, fam. We can no longer do things the way that we used to been doing, and here's why. Let me show you. So the other day, I received this comment, and you can see right here, the gentleman said that he made around $13,000 last year on his side hustle, but only filed taxes for the regular 9-to-5 documents. And that right there, is the reason why the government is wanting to introduce legislation that will give the IRS access to your bank accounts. Now, that particular law has not passed as of yet. The last information we heard about that was back in October of 2021. So as of now, the IRS does not have access to your bank accounts, but this new reporting is effective as of January 1st. And again, this is why, right? Like that right there is why the person $13,000 of income went unreported to the IRS and therefore was not taxed, okay? Now, and then on top of that, there is something called the tax gap. And the tax gap is the difference between the taxes that are legally owed and the revenue collected. And so I'm about to really show y'all this here, right? The last official estimated average amount from the tax gap. Remember, the tax gap is the difference between the taxes legally owed and the revenue actually collected. And the last official estimate average was from around 2011 to 2013. And who wants to guess, right? Before I even move on that, I want to say, who wants to guess what that number was? How much money do we think the government did not collect? Right? How much money did the government not collect? I want to see what y'all gonna say. Before I show you the number, how much do you think was uncollected based off the comment that we just saw? People making money, not reporting it on their taxes, therefore the IRS is not collecting the legal revenue, right? Oh man, Unc, much appreciated. Super chat coming from Unc. Oh man, you know what? Much appreciated. Yeah, you know what? Do I got that whole thing? I think I got the
high five.
Yeah. Oh, always appreciate the love and support there. But yeah, y'all let me know. Vin says $20 billion. $20 billion. Unc Vin says he thinks that is the tax gap. The difference between what should have been collected and what wasn't. Unc says that number is $20 billion. Anybody else? T-shirt town is gonna put it just right. He just gonna give it just billions of dollars, right? Okay, granted. What else here? Well, Maria says it is 15% of it. Well, think about it. Technically, yes, because when you're self-employed, 15.3% is the self-employment tax that you pay. That also did not get collected. So let me go and show y'all the actual number. The tax gap, the amount that did not get collected, $441 billion. That's a large number. That is a very large number. $441 billion of uncollected revenue because people decide that, hey, I made this money, I'm not going to report it. And well, that's that. And that was the estimate as of 2011 through 2013. And so what's happening is now with the introduction of cryptocurrencies and business income passed through as personal income through these fintechs app like Cash App and all them, the IRS commissioner, what's his name, Charles Reddick, estimates now that the amount is closer to 1 trillion. Let me look at that. I just want y'all to look at that right there. $1 trillion, right? That is the most current estimate as of April 2021. Again, with the introduction of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, NFTs. Again, because with these apps, Cash Apps and Venmo, everybody can pass that off as a personal transaction, right? So it's not necessarily reported as business. So now they're estimating that the wealth gap is now $1 trillion. And that right there, fam, is the reason why these laws are now changing. So let's just get ready, because $1 trillion is a lot of money, right? Especially when they consider the deficit that we have, the amount that they could be collecting in revenue. Of course, they'll use that as an excuse. Well, we know 14 trillion in deficit. If we collect it from the taxpayers, we can at least pay down one. We don't know, right? But that's a large number. $1 trillion of uncollected revenue due to the simple fact that people just don't want to report their taxes. That is triggering change in government. All right. So now that we know that, we can see why our government is wanting to get access to our information. And with that number, even though it hasn't happened yet, seeing that the IRS wants to get access to bank accounts so they can see what's happening with that number, if it ain't happened now, but I got a feeling it's going to happen soon. So let me finish this. So now let's look at the history. I want to talk about, let's move into the actual forms. Let's talk about what's happening. But before we get into that, I want to look into some history of the forms and their requirements. Let's start with this one here. This one we should all be familiar with, the 1099 miscellaneous. Now, this is the old school form. If you were self-employed back in the day, this was the form that you was reported in, and the income will be reported right there in box 7. Notice it says non-employee compensation. And the law surrounding this one says that if you were self-employed and you were paid more than $600 in a year, then you were required to receive this form. Well, as in 2020, they changed it. The new form is now the 1099 NEC, okay? And this one here is the same laws apply, but instead of getting the, like I say, back here was in box 7, but in the 1099 NEC, it's going to be here in box 1, the non-employee compensation. So let me just state this. This form, should I say, the 1099 miscellaneous still exists. However, it is not used to report self-employment income. That's not what the 1099 miscellaneous is for. Now, if you're self-employed and you get like a freelance or something like that, you're going to receive a 1099 NEC, and the income is going to be reported in box 1. Notice there is no real other boxes like the 1099. There's only one box for reporting your self-employment income, but then you have box 4 down there, down towards the bottom, and that's for the federal income tax withheld, if any. Okay, so those are the original forms when you were self-employed. Then came this guy right here. Let me blow it up for you a little bit. This is the 1099K, and this is for payments received through credit cards and third-party networks like PayPal, Stripe, Square, and things like that. This one first hit the scene in 2012, okay? And this one, when you get, or should I say, there's a lot of boxes, but the most important box on this one is box 1A, okay? That's the one that we really concern ourselves about with, because that's the amount that we report. And like I said, this one came on the scene back in 2012. And when it did, it created a reporting hole, meaning that it created like this loop, because as we see, this form only reports payments from credit cards and third-party transactions. So not every single payment, whether it was $600 or more, like the 1099 miscellaneous form required, whether that was there or not, it didn't get reported. So there was this reporting loop that happened when this form came out back in 2012. And the only reason, now some of y'all may not have seen this form before, and the reason is because the only way you're going to be able to see this form in previous law, you would have had to have had at least $20,000 worth of transactions, or say $20,000 worth of transactions, or 200 transactions, right? If you were under that, then this would not have been reported to you or the IRS. Again, did you hear me? This is where the issue came in. If, in order to be able to receive this form right here, you would have had to have more than $20,000 of income or 200 transactions, or a combination of them both. So we can see that the previous comment where the gentleman said, you know what, I made $13,000. I'm not reporting that. $13,000 is definitely a lot of money, but it's still under the $20,000 threshold. So didn't get reported. Now we can see where that 1 trillion is coming from. And that, my friends, is what's happening. So let's get back to it. Let's now figure out what changed. And here's what I want to know. Your taxes hasn't changed. Let's understand that. Your taxes have not changed, meaning that your amount of taxes is still, if you're self-employed, the taxes you're still responsible for, the self-employment tax is still 15.3, right? The federal tax rates are still the same as they are. Of course, they adjust every year for inflation. But your taxes hasn't changed at all. What has changed is the reporting. That's what has changed. Again, how can I say this? It has always been your responsibility to report every single penny that you earn, right? Always been your responsibility. That has not changed. The only thing that is now changing is the fact that some of the reporting has changed. So I don't want us to go out thinking that they're increasing our taxes, that tax laws are changing and things of that nature. No, things have always been your responsibility to actually change. As a matter of fact, I want to show you some of these tax laws here. So here is the United States Code, or should I say the Internal Revenue Code, Section 61. And this is important because this defines what gross income is. And the reason this is important, because you are taxed on your, gross income. And so what is gross income? How does the IRS determine what is and what is not taxable? What is taxed on your gross income? And here is the actual law, the Internal Revenue Code section, the U.S. Code, Section 61, that defines gross income. But let's look at this. It says right here, it clearly states, except as otherwise provided in this subtitle, gross income means all, keyword, all income from whatever source derived, including but not limited to the following items. And then it goes on to give us a list of things that it includes, right? Note number 2, gross income derived from business. That's like the number 2, right? The first one is compensation from service. Like if you have a regular W-2 job, number 2 is from business. But look at the highlighted box there. Gross income means all income from whatever source derived, whatever. Let's look into this a little further. Y'all remember this guy right here? Anybody want to know who that is? Some of y'all old school may know who that is. That right there is Al Capone. Famous gangster. Everybody wanted to be like Al Capone. this right here, reporting is what got this guy caught up, right? But I know a lot of people think that Al Capone, this is the famous case, because it wasn't the police that brought him down. Let me say that. It was the fact that he did not pay taxes on his income from his criminal activity. That's what got him arrested. The police, the feds, I don't even know if the DEA was there back around, but they did not get Al Capone. It was the IRS. And it was based on the fact that he did not pay taxes on his illegal activities. But what's interesting is this is not where it initially started. There was a case back in, I think it was 1931, the U.S. versus Sullivan. That was the first case where the Supreme Court had stated and sided with the IRS that, yeah, regardless if it's illegal, and I don't know, they said something about self-incrimination, but it's still income. And therefore, it is still taxable. So, tax evasion. He got, like you can look it up, you can Google it, U.S. versus Sullivan, 1931. That is the first case because I'm sorry, no, I'm all backwards. The U.S. versus Sullivan took place in 1927. Yes, Al Capone got caught up in 1931 after. So the U.S. Sullivan case gave precedence for the IRS to go after Al Capone in 1931. Yeah, I had to get my dates together. But here I also want to show you this. Let's look at, this is from publication 17. And I want y'all to really kind of look in and see what's going on. Right, hold on, let me see, let me go back to, before we get there, let me see, we got some comments coming in, say, yeah. So yes, Avery said they got him on tax evasion. Yes, they did. Al Capone got caught up on tax evasion, which is why a lot of people feel the IRS are like, oh, IRS brought down Al Capone, the big gangster. That means they are some monsters and gangsters themselves. Not really, not really. It's all about the money, right? But let me show you this. Let me get back to it. I want to show you this. This is a snapshot for the most recent publication 17. But what I want to bring your attention to, when we talk about all income, I'm showing you this so you can understand the severity of reporting everything. Look here where it says illegal activities. You are obligated to report income from illegal activities such as money from dealing illegal drugs, right? That must be included in your income on Schedule 1, Line 8, or on Schedule C if from your self-employment activity. But also, in this same publication, publication 17, you will see where it says you have to report stolen property. You must report its fair market value in your income if you steal it, unless you return it to its rightful owner in the same year. I know we want to laugh at that. Like, probably thinking mind is blown. Like, really? If we sell drugs, we got to report that on the Schedule C? Yeah. All right, if you go out doing GTA, Grand Theft Auto, not the video game, talking about in real life, you got to report the fair market value of the car on your taxes? Yeah. As funny as that sounds, it is true. This is the law. Remember what we talked about when we looked at the Section Code 61. It says explicitly your gross income is from all sources from whatever source derived. So if they're literally putting it in publication that says you still have to pay taxes on your illegal activities, we for sure got to report taxes on the business. That's like no brainers there. That's very interesting. Oh, Maria, you clowning. Let's see here. Maria says, well, what would the code be? Now, this is tax code right here, right? Maria's talking about when you go on the Schedule C. Good one, Maria. But when you go on the Schedule C, it asks you for the industry code for the type of business. But that's a very interesting point. I've read those Schedule C codes, and I've never seen a code for illegal activity. So I guess we would, as tax professionals, have to put it down as 999. That is definitely a good one. Something to two there. Let me see. Somebody else says, remember the bookkeeper from the Untouchables. Yeah, got to. Wonder why people keep two separate set of books, right? One that they report, one that they don't. Hopefully nobody's here is doing that. We're good. We're all, hand over heart, patriotic Americans, and we report every dime that we get, right? Absolutely. But do keep in mind that, let me put this back on here, right? What I'm doing with it. Okay, illegal activities and stolen property. Yeah, we have to report that. All right. So seeing that your taxes didn't change and neither has your responsibility, well, the next question is going to ask, okay, so what actually changed? Right? Like if it's always been our due diligence or our responsibility to report every single activity, even if you're selling drugs or you're stealing property, you have to report that. And you'd be interesting to know what else they consider income. Do you know that if you found something, like if you found a bag of money on the ground, you had to report that as income, especially if you didn't turn it back in. If you kept it and you at that point became the legal owner of that, you have to report that on your income. The IRS has thought of everything, okay? When you think of what do I have to report, think of economic gain. Did you gain economically by taking possession of that, right? If it's a kilo of cocaine, did you gain economically by taking possession of that? If the answer is yes, then damn it, you got to report it, right? Did you gain economically when you stole that Lambo, that Marcy Lamborghini, right? If the answer is yes, you have to report taxes on that, right? So think about economic gain. Anytime you have that happening, you have to report taxes on that gain. So getting back, now that we know that, let's talk about what did change. And here's what changed. COVID-19. No, not the pandemic, but a lot of things got rolled into this pandemic, right? The COVID-19 relief bill. So back on March 11th, 2021, this is where things changed. And this is what happened. So it's not that, like I said, nothing really changed as far as taxes go. We always have to report. We always have the responsibility. Amounts didn't go up or anything like that. The only thing that changed was for this guy here, the 1099K. Because remember, the 1099K had a reporting threshold of $20,000, meaning that if you had under $20,000, well, you wouldn't receive one of them. You wouldn't get it, or 200 transactions. So that is what changed back on March, March 11, 2021, when the COVID-19 bill relief got signed into law. What now happens is this form here now has the same reporting threshold as the 1099 miscellaneous or the 1099 NEC, which is $600. That is a huge difference. It went from 20,000 down to 600. Huge difference. That is the only thing, as of this video, that is the only thing that has changed. Again, the threshold went from $20,000 down to $600. And that's what's happening. Because like I said, remember, in order to receive this here, and again, everything's going to be reported in one. If what they report in box one is $600 and up, you're going to receive one of these. And to put it in perspective, let me show you this email I received. Let me blow it up so you can see it. This is something that I received from Square. Okay, you can see here it says that because I processed less than the qualifying amount, I will not receive a 1099 card for the payments I accepted in 2021. All right? For the payments I accepted in 2021. Remember, this new reporting is now taking effect beginning January 2022. So if, like the email says, I didn't hit a qualifying amount. And of course, it makes sense because I have a Square POS credit card machine for when people physically come into the office and do business. Well, due to the pandemic, social distancing requirements, the government shut down the cities and things like that, I did not have a lot of in-person transactions. So I didn't meet the threshold for Square. I did, however, do a lot of Zoom and a lot of digital things right there. So my Stripe account, I'm definitely going to receive a 1099K from Stripe because for sure went over the threshold for Stripe. But as we see here, because I didn't meet that threshold through Square, they're not going to send me a 1099K. But as a side note, whether they send me a 1099K or not, put this on here, I'm going to show y'all something. We're going to zoom in. I'm still reporting that income because my bookkeeping system keeps track of all of my incomings and my outgoings. So whether I receive a 1099K or not, my information is still going to be reported accurately because I have a bookkeeping system, right? So just wanted to make sure we know that. All right, let's kind of get back into this here. So next, the question is, who will this impact? And to be honest with you, it's going to impact everybody, right? Like if you sell on Etsy, if you sell on eBay, if you sell on Amazon, Shopify, Facebook, what is it? I think Facebook called it Facebook Marketplace. I think even Instagram now has something that you can click on there and buy from Instagram, TikTok. If you sell anything online that has to go through a third-party payment processor or it's going through a credit card, right, including Stripe, PayPal, Square, things like that, all of those are going to be impacted by this beginning now or backwards, January 1st, 2022, when I get my dates right, that's when all of this is now taking effect. So it is, what is this? Today is the 17th. So if you've already made $600 between January 1st and today, which is the 17th of January, you're going to get a 1099K next year, period, regardless. So the IRS is going to know because the 1099K, one goes to you, one goes to the IRS. So they will now know. But the question that comes up is to what to do. That's what we want to answer. What do you do? Well, I'll tell you this. We're going to talk about what you ain't going to do. That's what we're going to talk about first. So let's get to it. I'm going to tell you right now, what we ain't about to do is be illegal. Okay? That's what we're not about to do. We're not about to be illegal. I just want to say that. So let me kind of look at the comments. Let's say, got a lot of comments. So before I move forward there, let's tap in with the folks and see what they say. Let's see. Good question, right? So very interesting name. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. I like that. Now you're talking about, reporting illegal income. Could the law come after you reporting illegal income? I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it all depends, right? So I'm going to pause right there and talk about that because how are they going to know it's illegal? So when you report your illegal income, you are doing one thing. You're saving yourself from the IRS, right? So let's say, for example, you're doing an illegal activity and you report that income on your taxes, right? You you do what you're supposed to do. You report that income on your taxes. You don't say on the line heading, because it does ask you what's the type of business. You don't say, I sell drugs, right? You don't put that on there. You probably put retail sale of something else, right? But it's the income. You pay taxes on it. So they don't necessarily know that it's from an illegal activity. But if you do get caught and go to jail and the IRS says, well, you need to pay taxes on it, on top of these fines that the prosecutor about to put on you, you can say, I already filed taxes on it. Y'all ain't gonna get me there. I've already covered my behind on that instance. I already paid taxes on this illegal income. You can't get me on that. Nope, I ain't going down for tax evasion because I didn't evade my taxes. That's how that would play out, right? Not to say that if you report it, you're going to jail, because how they gonna know? Right now, I feel, y'all just made me feel illegal saying that. Like I just gave y'all a tip on how to report your illegal activities and still be in the law. I don't know. We gonna get away from that. Let's see here. Somebody says they could just go after everyone who illegally applied for the EIDL PP loans instead of coming for independent contractors. Small. That is true. Now, again, they're not coming for us as independent contractors and small businesses, right? Nothing has changed. We still legally, if we look at, if we're being legally law-abiding citizens, it was always our responsibility to report the income that we made, right? It's just the fact that, well, we don't know a lot about taxes, so we try to avoid it. Okay, and so we have to look at taxes as paying rent. It's part of what you do. Nobody has ever tried to avoid paying rent, right? Like everybody pays rent, no problem. Nobody's ever avoided trying to pay their cell phone bill. You pay it, so why not do the same with taxes? I don't get it, but do understand that those people who got those fake EIDL and PPP loans, oh, they getting it. They trust me. Y'all, we ain't seen the last of that, so don't even worry about it. Got you. Hey, Cried Wolf, don't worry. I know you was asking for a friend. I got you. Hopefully you share this information with your friend anonymously, all right? So let's go ahead and again, get back to it. So here's what we're not going to do. We are not going to do things illegally, people. That's what we're not going to do. We are not going to commit tax evasion. And I say that because there are some platforms out there that have stated that they will treat business and personal transactions separate. They will keep those two separate, meaning that you can sign up for a business account and you can sign up for a personal account, and only the transactions that happen under the business account will be impacted by this new law, meaning that only those registered as business accounts will only report the 1099. So what is happening, social media is lighting up, right? You can go to Instagram, TikTok, and there's millions of people telling you that, okay, here's how you can avoid paying taxes. Go into Cash App, switch it from business to personal. I mean, that right there off the top is called tax evasion. And I wanted to show you the law so you can understand that that is a felony. You are committing fraud when you do that, okay? And I don't want nobody getting caught up with a fraud case because they simply changed their app from business to personal so they don't have to report taxes and get caught up. And also keep in mind that some of these platforms have said that if they find out that that person is treating business transactions as personal transactions, they will kick you off the platform. All right. So don't do that. Do not commit tax evasion. Please understand that that is illegal. that is fraud. That is punishable by both fines and jail time. Okay? When we think about some of these celebrities who thought they were slick, they got jail time, right? Tax evasion is a real thing, so don't do that. So here's what you can do instead. If you really want to do something, if you really want to get right, just do that. Get right. Get organized. Now, y'all know me. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of being organized. I'm a fan of doing things right, because when you do it right, you sleep better at night. You have less to worry about. You ain't worried about looking over your shoulders. You ain't worried about whatever transactions is this and that. Whatever. You doing it right. You have nothing to worry about. And of course, to get right, use pen and paper. Pen and paper still works, right? Like you can, if you're old school, just write down, you get you like a folder, a notebook, write down your income for the month, write down your expenses from everywhere. You good. That still works, right? Like you don't need anything fancy. What else is good? Microsoft Excel. Y'all know I'm a geek. I love Microsoft Excel. Trust me, you can Google Microsoft Excel income statement templates, right? And you can get it for the whole year. All you gotta do is track your income, track your expenses, and you're good. Track everything, right? Microsoft Excel still works. Google Forms for expense tracking in Microsoft Excel. If you're that kind of person, use it, okay? Then there's the DIY bookkeeping, okay? There are plenty of both free and paid. And when I mean paid, I'm talking about it cheaper, like $11 a month for bookkeeping software out there that would allow you to do it yourself. If you like using apps and things like that on your phone, definitely get you some bookkeeping software out there. And of course, if all else fails, if you don't like pen and paper, if you don't like Excel, right? If you don't want to do it yourself, hire somebody. Simple as that. All right. Definitely hire somebody. And here's the thing. If you definitely want to hire somebody and you feel that you can't, well, guess what? Your favorite uncle, cousin, of course, this year, like I said, my goal is to help us get right, get going, and be organized. So let me introduce you to something, right? I'm going to introduce you to something I've been secretly working on. Secretly working on a few projects. One of the projects, before I put it on the screen, the first project I've been working on is for those sole proprietors who make more than $100,000, meaning in net profits, okay? Because if you're a sole proprietor and you are netting, you have net profits, not necessarily gross, because that's something different than net. If you have net profits of $100,000 or more, you may benefit from becoming an S Corp. So I've been secretly working on that project, which will be, now that the cat's out the bag, I'm gonna have to just go on and release it this week. But I'm adding to that project something called Operation Get Right. Now, Operation Get Right is, like I said, simple, straightforward, easy. And what it is an opportunity for those individuals who know that hey, I need to get right because I don't want to commit fraud. I don't want to be doing tax evasion, but I don't know where to start. I need to get my books in order. Operation Get Right is for you. And you can see here, right? It's pretty much a bookkeeping system. It's a low price. I know a lot of people can't afford these expensive CPAs. So I'm doing this only for a select group of people. And I'm saying that right now because I'm only doing this for 50 folks. Why? Because it's just me. And I want to make sure that I am giving everybody the full benefit, right? So $300 a month. Again, as you can see it here, let me make it big. It's for the small, medium business who wants to be controlled. And this is everything you get. We can connect up to 2 bank accounts. We'll have monthly calls. You'll get your financial reports. We do quarterly estimated payments. And if you are a Schedule C, it also includes the cost of your Schedule C tax prep at the end of the year. And you can see everything that's included. The initial setup, normally, like I say, when I'm doing this for my schedule, for my escort people, there's a $350 setup, but you get bookkeeping, 45-minute power calls, financial reports to keep you in the know, and accountable plan. To me, that's what's going to be the biggest thing, keeping you accountable, right? Which is something else I'm working on completely separate here. But we're going to set some goals. We're going to set some goals, set some budgets, and I'm going to hold you accountable to them, okay? And then tax preparation to get you all set and going. So pretty much for $300 a month, which is completely deductible, as far as your business finances goes on the back end, you have nothing to worry about, right? And that is, again, what I'm offering there to those folks who are interested in it. I was keeping that a secret, but I just announced it here on the live, so cat's out the bag. But again, that's only going to be for 50 people. I will make sure that I put a description, because I know I didn't add that nowhere there, but I'll make sure that I put a description in the notes for this. If anybody is interested in that, you can go ahead and do so, sign up for it, let me know, and go from there. But outside of that, my good people, that is what's happening with these Cash App transactions. Anything over $600 is going to be reported. And then, you are going to have to pay tax on that. So don't get caught up. Like, I just finished doing a tax return. I don't have the file with me, but client came to me, brought a letter. They got a letter from the government agency. And they went back to 2013. I'm sorry, no, 2015. They went back to 2015 and says, hey, we noticed that you didn't, file these taxes, and it's now been reported to us that you made this amount and now you owe us X amount of dollars. And it's crazy because since 2015, they haven't filed taxes. Here we are, 2022, and I'm like, what's going on? Why you haven't filed taxes? Well, I just don't know, right? Don't know why I haven't done it, don't want to do it. Okay, I get it. But look, here's the crazy part. So I get on the phone with the IRS and I get what's called a wage and income transcript, and I get it from all years from 2015 all the way up to 2020. And I'm looking at what's been reported. And I'm like, man, y'all could have saved yourself a lot of anguish and stress if you would have just filed. Because in one of the years, they had what's called a net operating loss, meaning that they had more of a loss than they had income. Well, tax law says if you have a net operating loss, you can carry that back 5 years or forward 20, right? You see what happened there? If you have a net operating loss, you can go back 5 years and apply that loss to a previous tax year to reduce your taxes. So even though the state of California is the one that sent in the notice, we can now take the income from a future year, take that loss, and they had a loss of over $200,000, go back to the tax year 2015, which is in question, completely wipe that income out, and now you owe nothing. So I'm saying there is a reason why you want to make sure that you have your books in order. Just because, you're thinking, oh, well, I didn't make nothing, I took a loss, ain't no point in reporting it. No, you never know the benefit of that. Like, we get mad because we say, well, how is it that the rich never pay taxes? Because they employ strategies. They like, man, we took a loss. Cool. Let's take that loss and save it for future years to where we do have income, and we will take that loss and wipe out that income. Now, guess what? We ain't got to pay taxes. But they had to report that loss in order to take advantage of it, right? So there is a real good reason why you simply don't want to ignore your books. One, if you ignore your books, you're doing your business a disservice. How do you know what's working and what's not? If you're really looking to grow and scale your business, you need to know how efficient is your money, right? So don't just sit around. Again, you have the options. You can do pen and paper. If you want to do it yourself, get Excel. I love Excel. I still use Excel myself. As a matter of fact, I think I got a video coming out soon that'll show you how to set up a budget in Excel. If you want to do the DIY, you can go through Xero, you can go through QuickBooks. All of them are inexpensive. You can do it yourself. Or if you want to hire somebody, simply sign up for the Operation Get Right. As a matter of fact, here, let me do this. I will put it here in the chat. That way, if y'all want to do that, we can go there. All right, so cool. Let me take a look at some of the comments. What time? Oh man, cool. Just about an hour, right on time. Let's see. We got what about? Let's see. Here go a comment here. What about a garage sale? If an item you pay for is being sold at a loss, would the income from that item count as reportable income? That is a good and excellent question. So that is talking about capital gains, all right? And so it has to, and capital gains is kind of tricky in that essence, right? Because you can't really claim capital gains on personal items. If you bought the item that you're selling in the garage sale with the intent to sell it, and then you sold it at a loss, then yes, capital gains, you can write up to $3,000 per year. As of this video, you can write off up to a $3,000 loss per year on capital gains. So if the item you sold at the garage sale was bought with the intent for sale, right, it had no personal use to it, then yeah, you can do that. But they don't allow capital losses on personal use items for capital gains. However, it's the reverse. If you have a capital gain, not a capital loss, but if you have a capital gain on a personal use item, you will have to report that on your taxes. I know, don't at me. I didn't write the law. I'm just familiar with it, right? So with that said, for the garage sale, you won't be able to write the loss, but you won't have to claim anything as income because, you know, it's zeroed out. Okay? Good question, though. Somebody said, this is why dads are important. Yes, us fathers are important. I don't know why you said that, but I'm going to say yes, that's why we are important. Dads are definitely important. Now, this is interesting, right? Yeah, we can sit up here and say that fiat currency, right, which is the basic, the dollar bill, and Bitcoin ATM, but I don't know if you came in on the beginning, we was talking about that. Due to the fact that these type of transactions are happening, we have a $1 trillion deficit in the tax gap, which is why the IRS is getting involved. And what's interesting also, a lot of people think that the government don't know what's happening with Bitcoin, things like that. There was a case recently where there was like a Ponzi scheme involving Bitcoin, and a lot of Bitcoin was lost, but the government was able to come in and recover a lot of the Bitcoin and get it to some of the people who had lost. And a lot of people was like, well, how did the government get the Bitcoin? How did they know? And I'm thinking like, what you think? Like, we honestly think the government is going to allow something to happen without them knowing about it? Like, yeah, Bitcoin is supposed to be unbanked and untraditional, but come on now. We talking about the government. We talking about Homeland Security. Our devices are listening to our very conversation. It'd be amazing. Every time I say something, Google will come up and like, oh, did you say something? Like, no, quit listening to me, right? Like, it's happening. It's not too much the government is knowing about. And then what kills me is the fact that we will go on social media and purport, brag, and sit up and say, hey, you want to not pay taxes? This is how you do it. Do y'all not know that the IRS and the government that listens to social media, has social media accounts and people listening, and yet we go on social media and be like, hey, you want to do tax evasion? This is how you do it. Like, for real? Like, that really blows my mind how we don't think about that. So yes. Let's see. Here's a question here. Let me try to make sure I understand this. Do the capital gains work with sole proprietorship as far as write-offs, please. So capital gains is, and I'm hoping, and again, if I'm not answering this question properly, by all means, please let me know, because I think we're talking about two different things here. But capital gains is a different type of income than sole proprietorship. So when you are a sole proprietor, that income gets reported on the Schedule C, okay? When you have capital gains, that income gets reported on a Schedule D, okay? Two different forms, but they do both come together to give us your total income, but two separate things. The sole proprietors can't necessarily have capital gains, right? Because when you are a sole proprietor, your gross income minus your expenses is your net profits, and they don't consider net profits to be capital gains. Now, if you take the net profits from your business and you invest it into like maybe a stock, NFT, or a cryptocurrency, and you then have a gain from that, that is going to be reported on your Schedule D as a capital gain, and it will receive favorable tax treatment because capital gains receive favorable tax treatment. See, look, what I tell y'all right here, Google is listening to me right there. I just said something and now it's listening to me. I tell you, they always listen. Just prove my point. So I hope that answered the questions. Please let me know. Okay. Here's another great question here. Let's bring this up here. The rarest diamond. All right. Glad you found the channel, man. I'm glad you found it too. Welcome. Matter of fact, we're going to give you a high five to you for finding the channel. Appreciate it. Is someone supposed to report an inheritance that they received? No. Okay. Well, I'm always so quick to jump and say no. It depends on the type of inheritance. It depends on what you do with the inheritance. There's always it depends when it comes to questions like that. But remember, in the beginning, when I talked about there were certain types of income that is specifically excluded. So gifts are one, life insurance proceeds, and certain types of inheritance are one of those incomes that is specifically excluded from income, meaning that if you receive a gift, a life insurance proceed, or a specific type of inheritance, then you do not have to report it as income on your taxes and therefore not pay taxes on it. And the type of inheritance, meaning that like you can inherit your parents' IRA, right? And let's say you inherited your parents' IRA at $1 million. Well, you won't pay $1 million on that inheritance. But if you withdraw it, which don't make sense because eventually you will withdraw it, right? Then you'll be taxed on it at that point. So things like that. We definitely got to be mindful of what type of inheritance it is. But for the most part, the inheritance, you don't pay tax on until you sell it. Let's just say that. Like, for example, if you inherited a house, the house is valued at $1.5 million. Well, you're not going to pay tax on that $1.5 million. But if you sell it, you run the risk of having a capital gain. The good thing about it is you do get a stepped up basis, meaning that whatever the value of it was on the date that you inherited, well, that's the amount that they're going to use as your basis. And when they compare your basis to the amount that you sold it for, the difference between the two is a capital gain. So if you inherited a house worth $1.5 million, you get an appraisal done and it's appraised at $1.5 million on the date that you took possession of it. And let's say you sold it for $1.5 million. Well, guess what? Because the basis is 1.5 and you sold it for 1.5, you have zero capital gain and therefore you pay zero tax. Hopefully that makes sense. If it's not, and you have a tax professional, make sure that you speak to them. If you don't have a tax professional, come on over to the self-employed tax company where your uncle cousin is. All right. So let's see. Let's see here. Somebody asked the question, is that $600 a month or a year? Great question, Caesar. I appreciate you asking it. And the answer is that is $600 for the year. All right. Starting January 1st to December 31st, 2022, The minute that you earn over $600 using whatever third party or transaction you use, whether it's Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, Etsy, Shopify, any one of them, the minute you earn over $600, you will receive a 1099K or 1099 NEC, depending on how they got you set up. And that is going to be reported to the IRS, which means you will now have to claim that on your taxes. So, again, yeah, that's it for me. Just wanted to check in with y'all so we can have that conversation. Wanted to clear the air. So, just summarize it. You now know everything, right? You know what the law says, okay? You now know what the obligation is. You now know what's going to happen. You now know what you need to do. So I will say this here, make sure that, y'all, if you like this kind of content, of course, I'm always grateful that if you give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification, leave your thoughts in the comments, and we go from there. I think I answered all questions. If I did not answer all questions, by all means, please let me know. Wow, the Rarest Diamond gave a super chat, man. Appreciate, no, it didn't up there. It still says Uncle Vin, but shout out to the Rarest Diamond. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Another high five to you.
High five.
Always for everybody who supports this, man. We got a lot happening this year. I'm working on a private community because I want to do more. I want to go deeper. I want to dive deep. I really want to go into a whole bunch of strategy working on that. So maybe on the next live, we got to figure out. Y'all let me know also in the comments, right? I kind of want to get back to it, but should we do it Monday? Should we go back to Fridays at 7? Like, what should be done? I'm trying to find a good time for everybody in 2022 that we can connect and make this happen and talk a lot about what's going on. So, yeah. Again, I'm about to go ahead and end this. Y'all know that I love you. You know that I'm looking forward to helping you succeed here in 2022 in this year. Yeah. So as it says on there, on Facebook, you can follow me for the fun. On Instagram, you can find me at the Self-Employed Tax Guide. And of course, here on YouTube, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, hit the bell icon, and we'll be good to go. But until then, my people, know that I love you. Know that I appreciate you even more. And it's good to see you. Yeah, Unc, I see you, right? Glad to be back. And I'll see y'all again soon. And so until the next time we meet, man, y'all be good. Enjoy this day off. Do something positive today, right? Honor the legacy of Martin Luther King. Go out there, show love, spread love, be love. And yeah, so I will see y'all then. All right. Peace.